On the Spot Farm project, we're involved with herbicide trials. Our target at Elveden was initially to look at linear-on replacement. It was evident linear-on, which has been the mainstay of residual herbicides, was likely to go, and following that it has actually gone in 2019, but we needed to work on replacements for that. The main results from the project have been that there is replacements out there. The replacements are definitely going to be more expensive. We're looking at a doubling in the cost of residual herbicides. However, we need to incorporate other actives as well, so we're looking at combinations of actives. So we're looking at 3 herbicides combined together is giving the best results for the broadest spectrum of weeds.
At Spot East, we're dealing with light sandy soils with a high irrigation demand. We're trying to identify a very small window in which to apply nitrogen in terms of overall application, and that has posed some problems in that sometimes grower would add an insurance policy dose of nitrogen. There is the potential to reduce small amounts of nitrogen, typically 20-30 kilos, and actually improve crop quality and yield at the same time. What we're trying to do is enhance grower uptake of science. That doesn't just mean what we're doing at that spot farm on that particular year. It involves all of the other spot farms.
I've been visiting Spot Farm for the last 3 years. I find it helpful to see other areas, other problems, meet other people within the industry. I think the most helpful thing initially has been the herbicide work with a lot of linear-on to give some pointers in which direction to progress in. But also there's an awful lot going on in terms of irrigation, nitrogen, black dot, lots of interactions there. And that's really gaining a greater understanding of how everything fits together. Spot Farm work looking, say, maybe on the herbicides has given it a direction to go in. Certain, say, pathogens as on their own, you're looking at how that all fits together.
We were looking closely at PCN. We had a large site and it was split up into 3 different trials. The main trial was a resistance and tolerance work with newer varieties, and the other 2 parts of it were a demonstration on trap cropping and a demonstration of the new nematicide. The site that we had, or resistance and tolerance, had both species of PCN present. It was quite noticeable looking at the resistance work that the multiplication of certain varieties that were resistant to pallida, they multiplied Rostockiensis significantly. The pallida was at a lower level. The varieties that were susceptible to pallida multiplied that to a lower degree because of the lower initial population. The main varieties were resistant to both species of PCN, and here we got good reductions in levels of PCN from the pre-levels. For the grower, this has given us an insight into some of the newer varieties. If you're looking for a tolerant variety, we've got good indication on which ones you should look to go towards if your end supplier is happy with that route. Particularly varieties such as Royal are proving very tolerant and resiliently tolerant in a number of situations. Marvel, Monte Carlo also were very tolerant. The results show promise. Yeah, there was a bigger reduction definitely than you would get from natural decline. If you've got a high level of PCN, this is an alternative way to try and keep your rotation at 6 years.
I think we've changed over the last few years quite a lot. I think we've always been open to new ideas and how can we improve what we're doing and challenge what we've been currently doing. What we've gained is levels of security and more information. I feel we're now in possession of some facts and figures and some indications that just didn't exist before we started 3 years ago. So that gives us quite a good level of confidence to move things in slightly different directions. We've kind of been bucket chemists for quite a while. Add a bit of this or take a bit of that away, half rate, double rate, that kind of thing. But it's been kind of indicative and quite sort of subjective. So the last few years have been really beneficial for my team at Elveden. So I think what this let us do is access tools that can quantify what we're seeing.